In tonight's Top Gear, the Mick Jagger of supercars. Our quest goes on to find Britain's fastest faith. And the Stig sorts out TVR's new coupe. Hello and a big Yuletide welcome to our festive edition of Top Gear. As you can see, we spared every expense. We've got a Christmas twig and some oranges and some nuts. And, oh. There's a bauble. No, I tell you what, let's just forget about Christmas, shall we? Let's talk about big, shiny 4x4s. Now, they tend to be bought predominantly by people who live in towns, so that when they go to the countryside, they think they'll blend. Really? This is the countryside. It's a brown and gnarled place, much like the people who live in it. And these are the cars that rural people drive. Willington boots with wheels. Muddy, broken things that are held together with straw and dead pheasants. It's hard to blend here, unless you live here. This is my off-road car. It's a Toyota Land Cruiser Amazon, and it's built to take on Africa and Australia, so it has no problem at all taking my children to school in the morning in Oxfordshire. Has 7 seats, rough and tumble fixtures and fittings, and there's a sense of invincibility about it. When you drive this down a narrow road, it's the other guy who backs up. Now, you could use the Land Cruiser for a day's shooting, but I don't recommend it. It's not that it doesn't work off-road, it does, it's brilliant. It just doesn't fit in with the scene somehow. You see, shooting is a traditional sport where the winner gets supper and the loser goes hungry. There's just you and your piece and the stillness of the trees. Smoke curls from an autumnal fire. A gentle rain softens the edges. And in this traditional scene, the Land Cruiser's just too chintzy somehow. I mean, look, that is green. And that's Toyota's idea of green. It just doesn't work. The BMW X5 is also hopeless, but for a different reason. Yes, it's big, and yes, it has four-wheel drive, but that's the end of the story. It doesn't even have off-road tyres, and that's like coming out here in a pair of Jimmy Choo pumps. This car is Milli Vanilli. Looks good on paper, but actually, it's just miming. On even the gentlest of tracks, it gets stuck, and the beater will drive by in his old Land Rover, laughing at you. Even if you are the Marquis of Blandford.
Was that not for birthday?
And how much is that Land Rover worth? 30 quid? OK, now I'll be fair. £200 worth. And that's, well, £50,000 worth, and it's stuck.
That's right.
What is yours?
Trooper.
Trooper.
Trooper come by?
Might, yeah.
really strange thing is that Land Rover is exactly the same age as me, and it's the only thing that's got up this. I couldn't get up this hill. It's lasted better than I have.
It went further than the BMW anyway.
Yeah, you've beaten the BMW by 30 feet.
Oh, wow. That's 30 feet less to walk.
Exactly. So what about the Jeep Grand Cherokee? Surprisingly, for an American car, it's quite restrained. It does blend into the Oxfordshire backdrop. And it is good at dealing with the rough stuff. But, good though it may be out here, it does have one or two problems. It's quite agricultural feeling. I don't really mind that. I mean, it is an off-road car. What I do mind is the ruching on the leather seats and this hideous fake plastic wood. It's also nowhere near as big on the inside as you would imagine looking at it from the outside. But the worst thing about this, the worst thing, is that you've always got the sense that you've bought second best. The new Range Rover is £20,000 more than a Jeep. These days it's more a luxury yacht than a car. But don't worry, it can still play rough. Okay, look at this. I flick this switch here to engage the hill descent control. Put it into neutral, engage low range, back into drive, and now I just point it at this seemingly impossible slope here. And now I'm going to do something you might think is mad. I'm going to take my foot off the brake, okay? That's astonishing. I can feel the anti-lock brakes grabbing each of the wheels in turn, making sure that we stay straight and that we continue to do a walking pace all the way down the hill. Now, of course, the X5 can do that as well. The X5 also has a hill descent control. It's something BMW stole while they were running Rover. But what the X5 can't do is turn round and go back up the slope. See, it doesn't have a low-range gearbox. It doesn't have locking diffs. It doesn't have this thing's ground clearance or wheel articulation. It's not a proper off-road car. And this just is. There's something else too. A Range Rover looks good outside the Savoy, but it looks even better out here. Now, there was a time when Range Rovers were king off the road, and they still have an air of invincibility about them. But believe me, you can still get these things stuck. Really stuck. See what I mean? First to try and get it going was Lord Blandford. Well, it was his garden. He, however, made things worse, so next to try was one of the locals. But his pickup ended up in the lake. I then decided to fetch my Land Cruiser, but in my haste to get there, I skidded off the track and ended up in a wood. The thing is, if those saplings hadn't have been there, I would be very, very wet.
Well,
So how do we get it out? Anyone got any thoughts? Why are you laughing at me?
Did you say to me this morning this truck goes anywhere, you said?
It does go anywhere. Look, it's come here. While we took a chainsaw to the trees that were holding the Toyota in place, a tractor turned up to get the Range Rover out. But even that was having problems. This is the trouble with filming in the countryside. There's too much mud in it. Eventually, though, all the cars were freed and we could get back to the business of explaining why the Range Rover is so good. Look at this, great slabs of real sturdy timber here and down the sides, and hand-stitched leather, and this foundry finish. It's the best interior on any car anywhere ever, easily. It's like being in the middle of a field in a trendy restaurant in Notting Hill. Except here, of course, the produce is fresher. So, there we are. If you really want to get about off-road, get something old and knackered with narrow, knobbly tyres. If, however, you want something for the weekend, all the cars are equal. But one is more equal than the others.
so the only car not to get stuck there, then, was the Jeep.
No, it got stuck as well.
Well, we didn't see it.
No, because the cameraman was driving it when it got stuck.
Yeah, that would have done it.
Yeah.
So the Range Rover emerged, you reckon, as the best of all of those, despite being, what, 20 grand more than the Jeep?
Yes, I know, but the attention to detail on this thing is just amazing. Let me show you, okay? The steering wheel, okay? It's heated. You push that button there and it warms up. And, even better, there's a little paraffin heater down in one of the front wheel arches, okay? And you can program it on the computer here to come on, say, at 6 o'clock if you're leaving for work at 7. So when you get in, it's nice and warm in here. And I fear this may be the most boring sentence ever to be said on British television, but it used to have a separate chassis. Now it's a monocoque.
Yeah, and you know exactly what that means, I presume.
Means it's less wobbly.
OK, but all this clever stuff, that's great, assuming it works, because Range Rovers have not enjoyed the best of reputations. I did some phoning around and looked into this. They did suffer a few problems. I mean, it was with stuff like the paintwork, interior trim, a bit rattly, engines, they could be a problem.
Yeah, the 4-litre.
And the 4.6.
And the diesel.
All the engines.
Yeah.
Gearboxes could be an issue.
Automatics.
And the manuals.
And the manuals. Yeah.
Transfer boxes, the suspension, actually, as well.
Yeah.
And all of the electronics.
Yeah.
All of it, you know.
Yeah. I did actually have a word with Land Rover about their reliability issue on this car, and they said, no, this one's built properly. So I said, OK, right, lend us one for 6 months. And they've agreed. And if anything falls off, or melts, or breaks, in any way, we can murder the managing director's dog.
That's fair.
In front of his children.
That sounds fair.
No, really, if this, for instance, gets a little bit loose, little bit wobbly, Frisky buys the farm.
Right, it's time now to look back on 2002 and announce our Car of the Year.
OK, and the nominations are The Range Rover. We've just seen it. It is the king of off-roaders. And the Mazda 6. The Japanese tried to take on the Germans, and they succeed. It's a cracking car and very good value as well. And then there's the Mini Cooper S. It's the trendiest car in the world right now. It's like driving around in a supercharged Parker. And the Audi RS6. It's fast in a straight line, fast round corners, and it's fast even when it's raining.
Right. Have we missed anything? Anybody got any more thoughts that we should have put on the show?
62.
The what?
Maybach 62.
The Maybach 62 is a stupid car. We're coming to that later. Anybody else? The Vauxhall Vectra. The Vauxhall Vectra wouldn't be the best car even if it was launched in 1984. And a really... Jaguar XJ? That was launched this year, was it? Where are you from? Which part of the country? Coventry. They make the damn things there. Have you not noticed them? I'm afraid you're all way wide of the mark. As are, in fact, the official European Car of the Year jury, who voted in recently the Renault Megane. Car of the Year. Only if you do that. So, our Car of the Year is... We've got some gold envelopes. Ready? It's the Range Rover. The judges, and that would be us, were impressed with its mono-thingy chassis, its supplementary heater, and the sheer Range Rover-iness of it.
And the next one is for this year's most pointless car.
OK, and the shortlist here is the Mercedes Maybach. It's a private jet that can't take off. And then the Ford Fusion. Don't be fooled by the ads. It is a Ford Fiesta in a hat. And the Rover 75 long wheelbase, suitable only for the Mayor of Preston.
Right. Have we missed anything there or not? SL55 AMG, you think is a pointless... So, let's go to the actual winner, which is... It's the Ford Fusion, everybody! Now, the judges were very impressed with Ford's idleness on this one. They knew that we all liked mini MPVs, they knew they needed to make one, and they couldn't be bothered.
Next up, a very popular category here. It's the weirdest Renault category.
OK. Weirdest Renault of the year. The nominees are as follows. The Velsatis. It's a businessman's car, but only if your business is Enron. The Megane. A family car, but only if your family is the Osbornes. And the Avantime, it's a sporty coupe, but only if you don't want a car that's sporty. Or a coupe.
And the winner, the weirdest Renault of the year is, in true mad Renault style, it's the Nissan Micra. The judges noted that the designer had plainly got too much ink in his pen. Look at it. Stop designing it, man. Step away from the CAD-CAM unit. You've finished. That's enough details on one car.
Now the big one. Our Surely You Don't Need the Money award.
And the winner is Eddie Irvine for promoting this hosepipe here. The man earned £6 million last year, 6 million, but still thought it was a good idea to put his fizzog on this box, which is available in Woolworths for £79.99p.
Now, we were going to make an award at this point for the fastest car around our track, which is the Radical, with an amazing time of 1 minute, 19 seconds.
But it seems that the Germans have been monitoring our broadcasts, and they got in touch and they said that they've got a couple of cars which they think could blitzkrieg our track. This is the AS1. It's powered by a bike engine, the same Suzuki Hayabusa unit that we saw in the Radical and in the Westfield. It's, where is it? It's gone. Well, wherever it is, they've bored it out to 1.4 litres. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but the AS1 only weighs 600 kilograms. That's the same as my shoes. So, it should go like stink. However, I'm more interested in that. It looks like a normal Audi TT with a few stickers on it. And it has a normal Audi TT engine, 1.8 litres, with a turbocharger. Thing is, though, it's been tweaked a little bit so that it now develops 400 brake horsepower. And that's the same as a Ferrari 360. Now, in a normal TT, the engine drives all four wheels. But in this, the engine drives the front wheels. The rear wheels are driven by a little something in the boot. Another 400 horsepower engine. It's got two engines. 800 horsepower. Obviously, I have to have a go. Let's see how it handles. Corners are best taken with your eyes shut. That's my tip. Two engines. It's ridiculous. Twice the fuel bills. But, must be said, twice the fun. Great. But these cars must now face the acid test. Bitte willkommen Sie, das Stig. And it's the AS1 first, but it's got no stereo, so the Stig's in a bad mood. Now, it may not look fast, but it's got hardly any body roll at all. Just look how flat it stays through the hammerhead. Right, we're coming up to the tyres now. Boy, that is so fast. Bit of flame there on the overrun as it comes up to the last two corners. Bit twitchy there, but he holds it into the last one and across the line. Next, the mighty double-engine TT, which is fast on the straights but not so good in the corners. And yet again, no stereo. The Stig's going to be very cross as he comes into the hammerhead. Lost the radiator grill by the looks of things. A big burst of flame there as he comes into the final corner, and he's really earned his Christmas bow.
Well done, the Germans. That was a very good effort. So, the times. Here is our power car lap time board. And at the top, there's the British Radical with an amazing 1 minute 19. Very, very good car. So, let's see how the Germans did, OK? First of all, the MTM Bimotor with its two engines, all very, very clever stuff from the Germans. Time was 5-1.
No,
that's not it. That's a score.
What made it just a score? It's 1945.
1966. No, that's wrong again. It's actually 1 minute 28. which is very, very good. That puts it faster than a Lamborghini and about 9 seconds slower than the British Radical.
There we are. So what about the AS1?
Well, very clever little car again from the Germans. That managed it in an impressive 1 minute 29.
Oh, dear.
Which is a very commendable effort.
Oh, dear.
Not as quick as the British Radical, which remains as the fastest car of the series at 1 minute 19.
Great news. OK, now, a couple of weeks ago, we had a race on our track to find Britain's fastest faith. And it was won by the Church of England. Trouble is, no Muslim took part because when we filmed the item, it was Ramadan. And during Ramadan, Muslims are forbidden from eating or taking part in any form of motorsport. However, I'm delighted to say that Ramadan is now over. So we have a Muslim in the Top Gear base. And not just a Muslim, we also have a Druid and a Rastafarian and a Seventh-day Adventist. Welcome to you all. Now, you are enormous, frankly. What's your name?
Pastor Gary Gordon.
Pastor Gary Gordon, good. And you live where?
Oxford.
And what do you normally drive?
Peugeot 1.9 diesel.
Did you have any idea what you were supposed to be doing today?
Some idea, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have been getting much practice in your Peugeot diesel, that's for sure. OK, so you are, well, a Rastafarian, is a guess.
Absolutely, yes.
Good. And what's your name?
Levi.
What do you drive?
Work-wise, I drive a Mondeo diesel.
Right. Another diesel engine.
It is interesting as the Peugeot.
Yeah. Do you do any motorsport?
I have dabbled, yes, this season. I've been in the British Rally Championships.
Oh, really?
Only in a showroom class polo, but...
It doesn't matter. You've been doing some serious motorsport.
Left-hand drive and...
You've had it. You've all had it. You've all had it. It's like the C of E guy. He did a bit on the side, albeit in an MG, but he did a bit on the side.
Right.
And you, well, what's your name?
My name's Arthur Pendragon.
Arthur what, King Arthur?
That's the one.
I thought he was a fictional character.
No, I'm not fictional, and nor's me sword.
Oh, right. OK, finally, at the end, you are...
Tariq Nassim,
Tariq Nassim, and you live where?
West Sussex.
And you drive what?
I've got Skoda RS.
A Skoda RS, quick car. Mind you, there is a little note I've got here that you once took it to Paris, but you misread the speed signs.
I did.
You thought 130 kilometres an hour was miles an hour. Brilliant. OK, well, we're going to find out how you did on the track, what you did this morning. Plainly, you've kept the car in one piece, which is more than can be said for the bishop who came here a couple of weeks ago.
Never trust a bishop.
No, exactly. And you keep off the grass. We'll see how you get on a little bit later.
Over the past few weeks, we've been telling you about some cracking deals on new cars. Remember the Volkswagen Passat for under 11 grand? Or the Fiat Stilo for 7,995? Or best of all, a Ford car for 4,995. I'll tell you, it's never been cheaper or easier to buy a new car. And the net effect of that is it's killing the value of second-hand ones. In fact, at the bottom end of the market, something like this, they're practically giving them away. Here we are, first car of the day, little Citroën AX. It's got less than 40,000 miles on the clock, but because it's 7 years old, I can buy this car for around £1,300. Now this is a Citroën AX Elation, it's a limited edition. It's based on the debut, so it's got the 1 litre engine, which means it's cheap to insure, but you also get a sunroof and you get metallic paint. And you know when you look inside it's going to be nice. Yeah, look at that. All the stereo, all the bits and pieces you'd expect. And it's only done 39,000 miles. This car's not even halfway through its life. A couple of years ago, an AX of that age and mileage would have cost you £2,000. So it's a steal. Next, I looked for a family car and found this Nissan Primera for under £1,000. You get power steering, get electric windows, you even get a factory sunroof. OK, it's done 98,000 miles, but it's going to be good for at least another 40,000 miles. And you won't be investing in some weather-beaten banger either. A careful check of the paintwork shows there's no telltale signs of accident damage repair. The electric windows work fine, as does the tilt and slide sunroof. And when you rev the engine from cold, there's no nasty knocks or rattles. So all this for £1,000 seems like a good deal to me. But just how low can you go and still get some working wheels? This man, Martin Gurdon, wouldn't even spend £200 on a car. This Nissan 300C cost him £100. It's got 135,000 miles on the clock, but so far it's given him a year's trouble-free motoring.
With a car like this, you need things like a strong battery,
Right.
decent plug leads, decent plugs.
Right.
The electrical problems tend to be the bugbear of
Right.
old cheap cars. People
Yeah.
have skimped on maintenance.
Yeah.
And you'll find that a simple car like this will be intrinsically reliable if you look after it.
I mean, obviously, you're a convert to this kind of motoring.
I just think it's hilariously funny. Why get a car with hire purchase and then watch it depreciate?
Sure.
I mean, all right, it's not something which is going to impress, but with a little bit of thought, it can be just as reliable as something which is 10, 12 years younger. And, you know, if somebody stuffs it or it gets nicked or
Yeah.
it breaks in a big way, well, I throw it away and buy another one.
You do need to know what you're doing if you're going in for £100 motoring, but a little bit more will still get you a decent car. This Vauxhall Astra CDI, it's got power steering, electric mirrors, and you even get a factory sunroof. Look at this, £450, and that's from a dealer. If you're brave and went to an auction, you might get it even cheaper. But it's not an old nail. It's done 90,000 miles, it's got some service history and a new MOT. Plenty of life left in this. One reason why you can pick up cars like this so cheaply is that they've got time bombs in them. By time bombs, I mean something that if it goes wrong, it'll cost you more than the car's worth to repair. Modern cars have onboard computers, and if they crash, you've had it. You'd be better off scrapping the car. Some experts would say, avoid these time bombs. But think about it. Go in with your eyes wide open, run a car like this for maybe a year or two. It's cheap motoring. And when it does go bang, don't cry. Chuck it away and get another one.
But, Jason, that Astra, it was horrible.
It was £450.
Yeah, true.
£450. Listen, I got a 13-year-old Volvo. It's done 160,000 miles. I paid £900 for it. I've just put it through another MOT. When it goes pop, I'll just chuck it away.
Yeah, but you're not going to pull in any of these cars, are you?
I don't care. £450 for an Astra. That's what you pay for a service on a new car.
True.
Right. You can get through Christmas without an Astra, but you can't get through without a spot of Bond. So here goes.
Ever got the feeling somebody doesn't like you?
Did you see that?
What?
That fish.
Yes.
How did the fish get into the car without Barbara Back and Roger Moore drowning?
Good point, actually.
You see, I notice these things in films. The hole's big enough for a fish to go in.
Water.
Water, lots of it. Anyway, the point is, we showed that clip because we wanted to demonstrate just how old the Lotus Esprit is. 27 years. It's a quarter as old as the motor car itself. And if you think about it, it was launched at a time when kipper tyres were popular.
I did wonder about these.
Yes, no, there's a very good reason for it. Kipper tyres, it went through that. It went through this one, 70s tie.
Yes.
It did the Reckless Eric. It did the Elvis Costello. And it's still going strong in today's Windsor Knot.
Interesting analogy.
I know, it's brilliant. And I can't think of anything else from 1975 which looks even half as good as this does today.